Welcome back, and welcome to if you're just tuning in for the very first time to the Don't Start Your Shit podcast. This is episode double X, episode 20. I have made it to 20 episodes on the pod. Thank you guys for having me go on this long. I appreciate you so much. From episode one all the way to now. If you've been following me from the beginning, if you just coming through and you're new, welcome. Please go check out my other content. It's February, so this is the month of love. I want every episode this month to have some kind of love element incorporated to it. And today I'm not in my usual drip. I don't have my chain on. I don't have my shades on because I want to be open up and be vulnerable again with you guys. But I'm going to go back uh in time to tell y'all uh my experience with falling in love or growing in love, if I as I would like to call it. That is going to be the focal point of this episode. Um, and to the person that I'm going to be talking about, I'm not going to say their name. I'm going to protect their identity because we have a good situation today, and I don't want to mess it up or affect that in any way as I'm trying to um, reveal this to you guys, this process. And um, nothing that I'm saying, like, I'm not gonna say nothing, but most of the stuff that I'm gonna tell you guys, I've already said to her before. Um, I may say some things she may not have known, but nothing's gonna be really just bad uh on her part. But I do want to keep her identity protected uh, as I reveal my process of falling in love with her or growing in love with her, as I would like to say. Um, So, to the general public, you won't know who I'm talking about. Anybody who was close to the situation as it was going on, you already know this story. But this is my first time revealing it to the general public. Um, and to the person that I'm going to be talking about, um, this is of course our past timeline. This is not uh what we're currently dealing with. Me and you are in a good place. Uh I just want you to know that I don't want to say anything that may offend you or upset you if you just so happen to watch this episode. Um, but I do want to show another side of me um, to my viewing public that have been supporting of me. They see my character, my wildness, and my goofiness, but I want to show them a more serious side of me because this was a point in time that really affected me. Uh, and I may get a little emotional as I go down memory lane on this, but I feel like it's necessary for me to get my story out, at least my side of the story out, and how I felt to y'all. So that's what it is. Episode double X, falling in love. Um, so this was years back, like I said, not um in the current timeline of what's going on in life, but years back, um, I met someone um at a group outing for a mutual friend of ours, mutual party. And at first, when I first met this person, I thought she was very pretty. I thought she was beautiful, actually. Um, very intrigued by who this person was, but at the time, this person was had a situation going on. I think they were still currently with their ex, maybe towards the end of that, but still dealing with an ex. So I wasn't really paying too much attention to her in that aspect. Um, because I don't like to get involved in like messy situations, and I understood that she was kind of in limbo with that situation, so I didn't want to deal with it. Um, I'm a person of peace. I want everything to be peaceful as possible on my end when it comes to my love life. Um, and plus, I didn't really think that we would become close at first. I didn't think that we would go past the initial group outing that we met on. So I wasn't really thinking too much of it. Um, but I started communicating with this person, and wasn't she was interesting. Um, I can't say I quite met anyone like her. Um, it was a good night. It was a good time. We went to catch a movie as a group, I believe, for the very first outing, and somehow this person happened to infiltrate um my space with her goofiness, and I realized that she was a character. I realized that someone who didn't really know who I was, just meeting me for the first time, was so comfortable around me to just be herself. I thought that was very I thought that was very interesting for me because I'm like, when I'm just meeting somebody, I'm not like fully myself because I need to get to know you before I express to you who I really am. But I just felt like she was so comfortable around me from the jump, and I didn't understand why. Um, but the night went on, and I didn't really think too much of it. I went my way, she went her way, and I honestly thought that would be the only time we would ever really just meet up. But we ended up meeting again for another group outing, and most of our early times was pretty much group outings. Pretty much damn near all of them was group outings, but like I said, we have like mutual people between us. So we met up again, and once again, she just her personality. It was like it was like she was me, but in a female version. It was like like the stuff that she would do, the things she would say, is stuff that I would do and stuff that I would say, and she did it on such a confident and comfortable level with me, and we still fresh in this, that I was just like, okay, like who is this person? Who is this woman? Like now I need to know who this is because she is just like I ain't gonna lie, I thought she was like perfect, like and I know, of course nobody's perfect, but I'm like I can see myself, like characteristics and traits of me in her, and the way she gravitated towards me so easily. It was like we had known each other for so long. It's like we wasn't even strangers. And she made me feel comfortable enough to be myself so quickly. And it takes a while for people to get me out my comfort zone to be myself, but not with her. I let my walls and my guard down so quickly with her, and it was like it was effortless. She brought that out of me at a very at the very beginning. But once again, um, we went our separate ways again, and when we started to get close was I want to say probably our third interaction with each other. We had a we was having a little get together at a mutual friend's house, and we were playing drinking games, and it was a lot of fun. It was actually one of the best nights I've had in my 20s. Um, we were drinking and playing card games, and we was just all interacting, and I was already interested in who she was before that. Even though she still had her situation going on, I was already interested in really getting to know who she was. Um, on that particular night, there was a moment where she pretty much invited me in for a kiss, and I thought she was playing, honestly, because like I said, we've only met up a couple of times. We're still pretty much strangers, but I don't know whether it was the alcohol talking at that moment in time, and she was just feeling good, or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure if that moment would have happened if she was completely sober, but the offer was on the table, and I was hesitant. Of course, we're in a time where you don't really know, but I was kind of hesitant. I didn't. I wanted to, but I didn't know if I should, and it's kind of like I knew she was serious because she kind of leaned in for it a little bit. So I'm like, all right, she's leaning. I'm gonna lean too, and we kissed. And I'm really not trying to be. I'm not trying to over exaggerate or be this sappy person, but I'm being completely 100% genuine and honest when I tell you it was like it was the best feeling I had from a kiss in my entire life. When our lips touched, it literally sent an electrical shock pulse down my spine. Like my body tingled, my legs kind of went numb a little bit, and I even moaned a little bit. Like I'm not even gonna lie, it was that magical for me. I'm not speaking for her. I don't know how she felt about it. I'm telling you how I felt about it. It was literally the best feeling I had after a kiss I ever had. And I was in and keep in mind, I had kisses before her. I've had kisses after her. Still the best kiss I've ever had to this day. I still haven't felt anything like I felt that night in that moment. And when that moment happened, I was hooked. It was instantaneous. Like I went home that night and that's all I could think about. I was just touching my lips like I almost never wanted to wash my lips again. Of course I did, but it's like I wanted it's like I wanted that feeling again. It's like she had me in a trance under a spell after that. Like my whole mindset shifted after that kiss. It was no longer about just being friends. Like I wanted it. I wanted that to myself. I didn't want to share that feeling with anybody else. I wasn't even sure if that could be recreated. I didn't want her to give that to nobody else. I didn't want to experience that with nobody else. I whatever that was between us, I wanted that on a regular, consistent basis. Not just because it was a drunk card game night, but because it was something real. My whole mindset shifted to, all right, I have to pursue this person. You know what I'm saying? Like I have to go get her. Um, so I can't exactly remember how we exchanged numbers. Um, but we did, and now we're starting to have conversations every day on a regular basis. And that was another thing too. I wasn't used to texting or talking to somebody every day. Like that's was considered like just a friend at that moment of time because we still were just friends. Like my friends, we text or we talk once every other day, maybe even once a week. But I never had somebody that expected me to talk to them every single day. And that's how she was. That was the first time I ever experienced anything like that. It's like she was big on good mornings and checking in, and it's like if she did not hear from me that day, she it's like she wanted to call the police, like where am I type thing. And it came down to the point where now I'm expecting to talk to you every day. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've gone from just texting or talking to people every other day to now it's an expectation to talk to you every day. And if I don't talk to you, now the day feels incomplete. It doesn't even feel right. It feels weird to go through a day and not communicate with you at all, even if it's just to say hello or good night or anything like that. Like now, I need to talk to you. It's become a habit. It's becoming addiction. Like you, and it's stuff like that. It's like she started to change how I thought and expectations little by little. Like because now I'm expecting to talk to somebody every day. Um, she's big on emojis. I wasn't big on using emojis, but now I'm starting to use a lot of emojis when I communicate. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's certain little integral things that started to change about me because of this person. You know what I'm saying? She started to show me the things that I liked and didn't like for real. And it's just I was getting caught up in who she was and what we could be on another level. Because for me, I knew what we were as friends, and it was a great friendship. It's a great friendship, like, and I also want to, if I'm giving advice, because that's what helped me ultimately get through. And I don't want to skip ahead, but even to like to this day, if you have a foundation of friendship, even if you go through a rough patch with somebody, you have that to fall back on. Most of the time, you just talk to somebody and you instantly start dating. You have not built no foundation of friendship. There's nothing to fall back on if things go sour or get a little rough. And I think that was the best thing that ever happened to us is we became friends first. We really learned to care about each other as people first. And I think that's one of the main components about our friendship is like we really care about each other no matter what. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the situation is, we have learned to care about the person. We see the person before we see anything else. So going back to where I was, um, now, like I said, I'm in a mindset. Okay, I don't I want to take this past the friendship level because I feel like I know what we are as friends. Imagine what we could be on the next level. Like I started to really think about life. I started to think about the future in every alternate universe dimensional thought that I had about my future. All of them included her in it. All of them. And I just every day I would think about what kind of future we could have and the kind of experiences that we could have together because like we have a lot of the same likes and interests, and then we also have some differences that uh we could actually explore together that both of us would be willing to explore together. Excuse me, y'all. I'm sorry if I'm sniffing a lot. My sinuses have been acting up all day. So excuse me, but yeah, it just got to a point where I couldn't imagine not being with her on a romantic level. Like so so I started to kind of turn up the heat in pursuing her romantically. I started to um I started to really pay attention to everything that she would say, picking up on the little things. So I'd buy her little things here, gifts in there. Um, I write her stuff. I would just do things to make her happy. Um, and I want to make it very clear too. I don't do the things that I do for her because I'm expecting something in return, or I or she should give me something in return because I'm doing this, and that. No, that's not it. I genuinely got to a point where I just want to make her happy, whether that's as friends or whatever the case may be. Like her smile, her laughter, her happiness became so top priority for me that anything I could do to bring that out of her, I wanted to do it just because I wanted to do it. Not because I was expecting anything in return, because I genuinely wanted to do it for her. So I would just be doing things for her that I would think would be minor, but they would be so major because it would come to my surprise that nobody would have done these things for her. And I'm like, well, you was in a long relationship, you talked to other people, and it's interesting to find out that I'm somebody that's doing things for you that's never been done for you before. And I couldn't fathom it because I'm like, why have you not experienced this yet? Who wouldn't want to do these things for you? So I felt like I felt like I had a good I feel like I had a good chance to get her. Um, there wasn't any indication that that wasn't on the table. I felt like that she had never expressed to me that she just only wanted to remain friends the whole time. Because she never came out and said, "Oh, I don't view you in that way," or "I don't see you romantically in that way." Um, she never said that, so I always felt like if I kept going on the pace that I was going, I was eventually gonna get her. Like I got to the point where I was so confident. It was for me. It was like if I wake up, it's over. And what I mean by that is every other guy in this world has a chance as long as I'm asleep. When I wake up, they have no chance. It's me. I'm that dude. I'm gonna get her. Y'all better get her while I'm asleep because once I wake up, it's over for y'all. That's how I started to feel. Like it has to be me. So I remember there was one day, and at this point in time, she's out of the relationship that she was in. I'm not saying that there wasn't still lingering feelings for the ex, but at this point, she was out of the relationship and she was at least open to the dating process. And I decided one day to go ahead and express my feelings for her. And it was so hard, I'm not gonna say it was so hard to write the message because the message I'm good with words. It was so easy to put the message together, but I was shaking as I was writing it because I was so invested into everything I was about to say, and I was so nervous to tell her. And that's how I know I was deep in it emotionally. Like she made me so nervous. Like just thinking about being back in that time frame that I was in, like I had never been shook like that. Like I had never been so nervous to just to just say what was on my heart. So I put together a very beautiful, heartfelt message for her, and I told her how I felt about her, and and when I tell you the anxiety I had from waiting on the response, have you guys ever experienced that type of anxiety where you say something and the response has you just on the edge of your seat? You can't be still. You damn near need some Xanax or something to calm your body down. That's how I was feeling to get the response, and the response I got wasn't what I was expecting. The response was kind of just like, okay, I appreciate you telling me how you felt. I hear what you're saying, and for I thank you for opening up and expressing your how you feel. But that's kind of what it was. It wasn't a, oh, I feel the same way, or it wasn't even, oh, it wasn't a, oh, I don't think I don't think we should be anything more than just friends. I don't really think that I don't think we can get to that point romantically. And I think for me that was kind of like where I that's for me that's kind of where now I need clarity. And I need very direct communication. That moment was one of the lessons I learned about what I needed when I'm talking to anybody. I need communication. I need to know exactly what you want from me, And it goes back to this moment because in that moment I felt like I was in limbo. She didn't deny me, but she didn't accept me neither. So it just kind of like my feelings were on the table, and she didn't really say back how she felt about me. It was just kind of appreciation for me actually being bold enough to express my feelings. And we just kind of left it at that. So because we left it at that, I was just kind of like, all right, well maybe she just needs time to process what I said to her. And we'll revisit the seriousness of this conversation at a later time. And we just kind of went back to our regular communication how we was. And but every day I was like, every day I just felt like I was missing out because I'm like, I want to be with you so bad. Like I don't know why we're wasting time not being together. Like I feel like every day we were not working on a relationship was a day wasted. That's how I started to feel. And not too long after I expressed how I felt, something happened that I was not ready for. And I want to say this without being um rude or mean, and I'm going to give her some leeway on this. But what I was not ready for was not too long after I expressed my feelings for her. She did a pop out with a new boyfriend, and that moment when I saw that, I was I was so distraught. Um, I was shocked, flabbergasted, perplexed, whatever word you want to use in the dictionary to define baffled. Um, that was me. I was not ready for it. Um, I think that I think I actually may have cried because I was so devastated by that pop out that it because for me, and this is where I also learned that um, with women, um, you really don't know what moves they're making if they don't want you to know. Because I feel like we were communicating every day, and I had no idea that there was a whole nother conversation with somebody else going on at the same time. Um, so it's like we were having a one conversation every day, and you were having a whole nother conversation, a different conversation with somebody else during the same time period. And the things that I wanted, the things that I was asking for, little did I know was about to be ready to be given to someone else. And like I said, this is where I want to give her some leeway. She never guaranteed me anything. She never told me that that she was considering anything more than just a friendship with me. She never said that um she was even interested in me in that way. So we were not locked in. She had every right to be talking to whoever she wanted to talk to. She had every right to do that. I'm not saying she was wrong. All I'm saying is how I felt not being the one chosen when I felt like I had did all the right things, put in the time, put in the effort, and I just felt like I was passed over. I just felt like, damn, why was I not good enough to be the one? And anytime you feel like you've gotten passed over or somebody was chosen over you, you start to question yourself. It's like, well, what did I do wrong? What did this person do that was so much better than me? And it may not have been nothing that they were doing better than you. It's just what they felt for this person at the time. They just felt like this person was the right decision for them. And everybody has the right to make the decision that they feel is right for them, even if you feel like it's wrong. Of course, I felt like it should have been me. Of course, I felt like I was the right choice. But if that's not what she felt at the time, she's perfectly within her right to make whatever decision she want to make. Whatever consequences come with those decisions, we as grown adults live with our consequences. Um, but I didn't know how we were going to go forward after that because I went into a very dark place after that. I wasn't myself. Um, it was hard to communicate with her because even though she didn't betray me, that's how I felt on the inside. I felt like it was almost like, how dare you? How dare you seek happiness somewhere else? Selfish thinking, but it's what I thought because I wanted to be the one. I felt so strongly about her, about us, that almost I was delusional in thinking that just because I felt this way, she felt the same way too. I created this I created this scenario, this life in my head that I thought was going to work out in my favor, that when it didn't happen that way, I couldn't handle it. Not at that moment in time. I was too immature at that time to understand or handle when that happened. Um just I mean, because it's I mean, and understandably so. Imagine being so in love with somebody. Imagine being so infatuated with somebody. Imagine being so dedicated to somebody, and it just feels like your heart was ripped out in one post when somebody else got the girl of your dreams. Just imagine the girl of your dreams that you're trying to make the girl of your reality is posted up with someone else. And at this point, crash out wasn't a term, that wasn't a popping thing. I was crashing out. Like to myself though, I wasn't like I'm not that crazy type of person where I'm just like, okay, now I'm about to be like busting out your windows or flattening your tires or something like that. So my thing is like, I wasn't trying to sabotage her at all. Like my whole thing with her is like, be happy in life, whether that's with me or not. Um, Even though I believe that you'd be happier or happiest with me, is your life. Do with it what you want. Um, that's my mentality today after everything. But if you're going back to being in the middle of that situation, I needed help. I needed help. I needed family. I needed friends. I needed all hands on deck. I was not okay. I was not okay. I wasn't okay on the outside, but I was presenting myself as being okay on the inside. Um, I still was being her friend. I still was communicating with her like we regularly was, even though I was hurting on the inside. I didn't let her know that's why I was hurting. She knew something was wrong with me. She always, and that's what I give her credit for. That's what I talk about as far as like caring for one another. She knew something was wrong with me. She didn't know what it was, but she was checking in on me all the time to make sure I was okay. And she didn't know that's why I was in that dark, depressive moment to where I was not okay and didn't want to talk. She knows now if she's watching this episode and made it this far. Um, it was hard to talk. It was hard to talk. I'm sorry. It was hard to talk because I wasn't okay with the decision that was made. Um, I felt like my future had been ripped away from me, honestly, because if I'm being completely honest, I pictured being married to her. Uh, and I'm not even big on having like more kids. Um, I don't know if I've said that in previous videos, but I'm really cool with just having my one kid. Um, but I'm not completely closed off to it. I've always said that I'm okay with having a child with my wife, and I was definitely okay with having a kid with her. I wanted to expand. I would have expanded my family with her for sure. Um, and I felt like I wasn't gonna get that chance ever to. I wasn't, and I'm not gonna lie. I stayed in the delusion a long time. I stayed in, you know how you can stay in a state of mind too long. You know you should have been got out sooner, but you can't help yourself. And to be honest, I stayed in the delusion that long because I felt like we never gave it a real chance. It would have been so much easier for me to move on had we tried, and it failed. It just didn't work out. We just wasn't a match. What kept me into the fantasy that I had created for myself was that we never gave this a shot. How can I move on from something? How can I move on from something if we never gave it a shot? I see the potential. I see how great this can be. I didn't want to let it go. I couldn't let it go because this was my person. I just knew it I felt it. It was in my gut, that gut feeling. If we gave it a chance, the magic that could be created, I couldn't let that go. I am man enough to sit here and say that I could not let it go. I couldn't let her go. She was perfect for me. It's like God put the perfect package together and put it in my life, like just dangle it over my head and said, "This is as close as you're gonna get. You can't actually have it." That's how I felt. Because why would you do that? Why would you put this person in my life and dangle her right in front of my face and not let me have her? That's how I felt. Um, and time just went on, and day after day, I was just trying to find a new way to be okay. I was trying to find a new way to be okay. Um, Watching her date other people was so difficult. And when you think about timelines, one thing you can't get back in life is time. And I'm just thinking about all the time we spent, just being friends or her dating and me trying to date too. I think about I think about what if we had tried. The moment I expressed my feelings, what if we had tried then? Where will we be now? I think for a fact our lives would look a hell of a lot different than it do now, especially mine. I think I think because sacrifices would have had to be made and big changes would have had to be made, and for her, I'd have been willing to make them. Um, do you guys believe that sometimes, even if you're not necessarily ready for marriage itself, like the general, like just being married, but you're ready to be married to a specific person? If you were to ask me now, would I have been ready to be married, or am I ready to be married? Maybe in a general sense, no, because I feel like I would have had to have my stuff more together to be married. But if you would have asked me, would I have been ready to be married to her? Yes, because I believe being married to the right person, there is no bad time to be married to the right person. Because being married to the right person will get you through all times, good and bad. I may have not been ready for marriage in general, but I was ready to be married to her. And whatever happened, happened as long as it happened with her. Even if it didn't work out, I wanted to see what could happen, the potential. And I got stuck on potential for so long. And when you get stuck on potential, that sometimes that's all it ended up being. Potential has to turn into something, or it's just potential forever. And that's just kind of the limbo I was in. It was just stuck on potential. And it was so hard for a long time. Um and I thank her for being so understanding and mature, because she could have easily stopped talking to me. After I expressed my feelings, she could have easily been like, "Okay, now that I know how he really feels, I just want to back off of that. Like, good person, but he feels too strong for me. I don't think that we can continue to go on because I don't think that he can handle just being friends. She kept me around, and I appreciate that. She been there. She was there for me through a lot of things. Um, and I don't think I would have made it through some of those things had she not been a good friend to me. So, like I said, this is not what I'm saying is not indicative of what's going on now. This was a time period. Um, I thank her for being mature enough to realize the good person that I am to not want to lose me just because I felt a certain type of way that she didn't. Um, and it's hard. It's hard today to find somebody to be as mature to be able to be willing to keep you around after being told something like that. Because usually when you tell somebody how you feel and you don't feel the same way, that's where the story ends. Our story did not end right there. We kept going. We both were mature enough to keep going because we realized that regardless of feelings, we were great friends and we needed each other. And I thank her for keeping me around to get to where we are now in life. And she always tells me that she needed me when I came into her life. I needed her as well. We both needed each other. We both came into each other's lives at the perfect time. God knew we needed each other. We needed each other's friendship. Um, but I, for a long time, continued to try to position myself to be somebody that she picked. I tried to show my qualities as a partner, a boyfriend, a potential husband, a potential father to her kid. I tried to put myself in a position to show her the vision that I had. Um, I tried to I tried to make it happen. I pursued it. I tried to make something out of what I realized was going to be nothing. And it just didn't get there. It just never got to that point. We never tried it. We never tried to take it outside of the friendship and turn it into a romantic thing. It just never got there. And I had to get to a point where I was okay with that. I had to become okay with that because I couldn't. There's no way we would be in communication now had I stayed in that mentality of it is is me or it's nothing. That'd have been very selfish of me to be like, you have to be with me or this friendship has to end. That would have been very selfish. That would have been very stupid. I'm glad I never took that road. Even I'm not saying I never thought it. I thought it, but I could never bring myself to take that road because I'm like, I don't. It's not worth losing the person. It's not worth losing the friend. I realize it's somebody that I need in my life in some capacity. Why would I continue to put myself at risk to jeopardize that? Because I can't get out of my own head. I had to get out of my own head. I had to I had to come to the realization that it just may never happen. I had to come to terms with that thought. And it's so hard. It was so hard. Like you spend so long on an idea and a fantasy that it becomes so much of a reality in your head. You stop forgetting that you have to actually live in the real world. and you have to live life. And that's what I did. I just kind of started living life outside of that fantasy. And I eventually got to the point where I became okay with the thought of not ever ended up marrying this person. And it took a lot of work. It took a lot of time, a hell of a lot of time. But I got there. And I can say today, I'm okay if it never happens. I can say that because life goes on. And I know that I have to live my life. I have to. If I'm not going to be happy with her in the situation that I created for myself in my head, then I have to go be happy some other way. And it's okay. But the whole purpose of this episode is to show the gradual growth and love that I developed for this person. I was in love with this person deeply to my core. I was in love with this person. And it was, you couldn't pull me out of it. You couldn't. No matter how much pain, no matter how much darkness, no matter how much I went through, you couldn't pull me out of it. Because I had it in my mind at the end of the tunnel, it's going to be me and her. We're going to walk away from this. We're going to go off and be together some kind of way. You couldn't pull me out of that thought. And if you fast forward to now, what being together now looks a lot different than it did back then. Being together back then may have been a little bit easier. Being together now would be kind of difficult. Um, Not impossible, but difficult. And in order for it to work in today's reality, I would have to make some sacrifices that I would be willing to make, but it's not as easy to make those sacrifices now as it was back then. Because I realize that times have changed. Years have gone by, situations have become different. I can't just jump the gun emotionally be like, oh yeah, 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 yeah. I can pull the trigger on these things. I have to think about it now. Back then there was no thought. Tell me what the answer was, I'm doing it. Now it would have to be carefully crafted. And I would have to think about it. And I would have to make the decision that's best for me. And that's the biggest turnaround for me. I'm finally in a position where I need to make the decision that's best for me and my mental health and my mental well-being, because I don't want to go back down that dark path again. I can't sit here and say to you that I know what's going to happen between me and this individual going forward in the future, but what I can tell you guys now is we're in a great place. And I want to keep it in a great place, no matter what that looks like. So to this individual that I'm talking about, if you are watching this video, um, I'm sorry for not expressing to you why I had become distant or non-communicative during that time. But you know now it's because I couldn't handle seeing you with other people because I was in love with you deeply. And it hurt me that you didn't pick me. I'm okay with the decisions that you've made in regards to your love life and not picking me because you had to do what was best for you. And you knew what you needed from me, and you got it. So it all has led to us being cool today. And I thank you for keeping me around. I thank you for allowing me to be vulnerable and express those feelings and not tell me to to screw off. I thank you. I don't know what the future holds, but whatever it holds, I hope you're happy with whatever you decide to do. Um with that being said, I'm gonna shift gears to the start your shit segment. I have a couple of questions here. I'm sorry if I'm not enthusiastic. You guys, I'm just reliving and re-going through the thought of that time. It gets to me because it was a lot emotionally. But you know what? I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. After that, I don't even have the capacity for these questions, honestly, because these questions they kind of are not conducive to the mood that has been created, and I'm not in a place to answer the question. So I may answer these questions next time on the next episode, but as far as right now, I can't do it. I I just kind of want to leave it right there. Uh, I've said my piece. I've opened up again to you guys. Um, and I just want to say to y'all, if you love someone, shoot your shot. Go for it. Even if you miss, go for it. That's one thing that I don't regret. There's one thing that I don't regret is telling her how I felt and pursuing her. We only we on we only have so much time in this world. We might as well try to be happy in it. I thought that being with her was gonna make me happy, and I believe that to be true. And I may not get the chance to ever see if that actually would have come to fruition, and that's okay. But I had to do it. I had to go for it. I don't regret going for it. It would have ate me alive to keep all of that inside and never say anything. So if you're out there and you're holding on to feelings for somebody and you're afraid to express them because you're afraid of losing them, don't hold back. You're gonna feel a lot better getting it out. Even if you don't get the results you're looking for, you're gonna feel a hell of a lot better getting all of those emotions and feelings out. You love somebody, tell them. You want somebody, show them. They'll either want it or they don't. But take that chance. Live life and go try to be happy. And that's where I'm gonna end it. Thank you for joining me on episode double X. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for allowing me to be a vulnerable, sappy person tonight. Um, just thank y'all for sticking by me, man. Like real talk, I appreciate the love y'all have shown me since I started. And until next time, see y'all later. It's me signing off. Don't start your shit. Won't be no shit, y'all. I'm out.